trickery is this? Mal'Ganis! I don't know how you survived, but
Calm yourself, Prince Arthas. I am Tichondrius. Like Mal'Ganis, I am a Dreadlord. But I am not your enemy. In truth, I've come to congratulate you.
Congratulate me?
By killing your own father and delivering this land to the Scourge, you have passed your first test. The Lich King is pleased with your enthusiasm.
Yes. I've damned everyone and everything I've ever loved in his name. And I still feel no remorse, no shame, no pity.
The rune blade that you carry was forged by the Lich King and empowered to steal souls. Yours was the first one it claimed.
Then I'll make do without one. What is the Lich King's will?
The cult of the damned must be rallied once again. Many of the acolytes have been in hiding amongst the populace. Once you've rallied them, I will give you further instructions.
What is it now? At last. Frostmourne hungers. At last.
Greetings, great lord. Our master, Kel'Thuzad, told us that you would come.
Kel'Thuzad? How could he have known it?
Be wary.
The dead have
If the
risen
townsfolk
again.
see your undead
Guards!
means, they'll call the local
Help!
guards.
The
to stop
undead
you.
have returned.
At last. Now,
The
Frostmourne.
dead have risen again.
This is more
Guards!
Frostmourne
My
hungers.
life for Ner'zhul.
Finally.
Prince Arthas, arm yourselves!
Finally. At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. At last.
Seek out the local graveyards. Those buried there. My sight is yours. Shall be your eyes.
No one orders me around. At last. Faithless coward. What is it now? Finally. Must tread lightly. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Speak, fool. I'll make sure you suffer. Finally. This is more like it. Faithless coward. Finally.
I live
at
only
last.
to serve, great lord.
This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. I'll make sure you suffer. The damned stand ready. For the Lich King. This is more like it. Your pain shall be legendary. Faithless coward. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. What is it now? Speak, fool. What is it now? Frostmourne hungers. At last. Now,
How could you murder your own father?
Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally. At last. This is more like it. Speak, fool. At last. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. No one orders me around. Finally. Speak, fool. Must feed. This is more like it. At last. I'll make sure you suffer. You will know endless torment. Finally. At last. Frostmourne.
The dead have risen again.
This is
Guards!
more like it. Frostmourne hunger.
The damned stand ready.
This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers.
The undead! Sound the alarm!
Finally.
Your pain shall be legendary.
Frostmourne hungers. At last. Finally.
I live
at
only
last.
to serve, great lord.
No one orders me around. This is more like it. Frostmourne
Mercy, my
hungers.
lord!
This is more like it. At last. Finally.
The damned stand ready.
Frostmourne hungers.
Help!
Now,
the
Frost.
undead has returned!
At last. This is more like it.
The undead! Sound
at
the alarm!
last. Frostmourne hungers. I'll make sure you suffer.
You bastard!
Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Finally. At last. Frostmourne hungers.
Your pain shall be legendary.
This is more like it. Tread lightly. Speak, fool. No one orders me around. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last.
I bow to your
This is
will.
more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. I'm in luck.
These graves were dug recently.
Arise in the name of the Lich King. Tread lightly. Finally. Speak, fool. Tread lightly. Faithless coward. Frostmourne hungers. What is it now? No one orders me around. Finally. Tread lightly. This is more like it. Finally. Ah, at last. Speak, fool. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally. You will know endless torment. Ah, at last. Tread lightly. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Finally. Ah, at last. Finally.
Say your prayer.
Frostmourne hungers.
Run!
This is more like it. Now, Frostmourne. For the Lich King. Frostmourne hungers. Finally.
The damned stand ready.
At last. Finally. This is more like it. At last. Finally. You will know endless torment. Ah, at last.
I live
Frostmourne
only
hungers.
to serve, great lord. This is more like it. Finally.
Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. At last. No one orders me. Speak, fool. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Frostmourne hungers.
I live only to serve.
Now, Frostmourne. Frostmourne hungers.
My sight is yours. I'll look into it.
Tread lightly. This is more like it. I'll make sure you suffer. Faithless coward. Finally. This is more like it. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Your pain shall be legendary. At
My
last.
light for Nessie.
Frostmourne hungers. At last. Finally.
Mercy,
This
my
is
lord.
more like it.
I live only to
Frostmourne
serve.
hungers. Finally.
You should burn in hell.
Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. For the Lich King. Finally. At last. Finally. This is more like it.
The dead have risen
At
again.
last.
Guards!
Frostmourne hungers. At last.
The dead have risen again. Guards!
Finally.
The
This
dead
is more
have risen
like it.
again. Guards!
Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it.
I live
Now, Frostmourne.
only to serve.
You will know endless torment. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally.
The dead
at
have
last.
risen again. Guards!
Faithless
The
coward.
undead have returned.
I'll make sure.
You've betrayed us all.
Finally. No one ordered me around. At last. Now, Frostmourne. Frostmourne hungers. Finally.
Mercy,
The
my
dead
lord.
stand ready. At last.
The dead
This
have
is more
risen
like
again. Guards! Mercy, my lord.
What is it now?
Kill them all.
Frostmourne hungers. Tread lightly. At last. Your pain shall be legendary. This is more like it. Faithless coward. Speak, fool. Your pain shall be legendary. Tread lightly. Frostmourne hungers. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Finally. Speak, fool. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. Ah, at last.
My life for Nezul.
Finally. What is it now? Ah, at last. This is more like it.
I bow to your will.
At last. This is more like it. I'll make sure you suffer. Ah, at last.
Faithless coward. My life for Nezul.
This is more like it.
Your pain shall be
I
legendary.
bow to your will.
My
I
life
bow
for
to
Nezul.
your will. This is more like it.
Well done, Death Knight. The cult is nearly assembled.
Lordaeron lies in ashes. What good are these cultists to us now?
They will aid you in your next undertaking.
And what's that?
You will go to Underhall and recover the remains of the Acolyte's former master, the necromancer, Kel'Thuzad.